Good day once again. This is Arvin Alonso demonstrating to you basics of IT application tools. The part 1 of this presentation ended up with showing you how to prepare an individual payslip, and you can also prepare a payslip for the entire set of employees available in your payroll system. So what I did here is to design one first. I designed this one, and I called the values of the first employee. So this is the first employee with the succeeding basic pay up to the net pay. Actually, that's the first row in your payroll, which is this row 9, and then you can have row 10. So what you need to do is just to copy this one and then paste it here, and then you just change the cell addresses of this until such time that you're able to complete the entire employees. So here in one page you can have 4 employees, then continue with page 2, and so on and so forth. So that's a payslip that contains all employees, while this one is for individual, where you're allowed to type the employee ID number so that you'll be able to see the exact values for each item or category of the payroll. Now, going back to this setup, what I would like to show you here is to lock cells, so that these cells in white color should only be the cells that are active, and you will not be able to type any value here and modify any part except those that are white. Anyway, how did I format this one? You just need to have this colored gray, actually color it gray, and then I colored the areas where I need to have the values white, and then I put some border in the right side and at the bottom. So you just need to have choose, for example, the bottom border. If you want to have a thickened border, you use this one. So that's how I design, so that it will look like it's a text box in a real system. So what to do with this? You go to home. Take note that by default all worksheets are locked. You have to check on this. So all cells in a certain worksheet, I should say, should be locked, and then you select the areas or cells that you want to unlock. So for example, in this, I'll select this one, hold down my control key, select the next cell until I will be able to select all cells that I would like to unlock. So I'll go to format. You notice that it's already unlocked. So just to show you, this is the picture of lock cell. So I'll click lock cell, and then you go to review, protect your sheet. Here there are some conditions. You can allow the users of this worksheet to select unlock cells. Okay, select lock cells. Now if you don't like the user to select lock cells, meaning if this is what is checked only those unlocked cells will be selected. So I'll show you what happens. You can put a password here, or if you don't like to put a password, simply leave it blank. Take note, when you put a password, do not forget it. because it will be hard for you to make modifications once you will forget the password to unprotect your worksheet. Click OK. So now these white cells are unlocked. These are gray area and the blue area are locked. So when I move my cursor, I can only move within those unlocked cells. Now, with this, you are able to control the movement of your cursor, or you can only click on areas that are locked. Notice that first thing that you do, unlock some cells that especially those cells that you need to put data, and then protect your sheet. Protecting a sheet is different from protecting a workbook. Protecting a workbook is putting a password into the entire file. Okay, so that's the difference. So you can also have a protect workbook here, or in the file save as, or here even the info you can have a protect workbook, or in the save as you can have the tools, general options, and then the password to open. Okay, so that's how to protect your workbook. You can also do this with other areas. So say for example, you can only have this area to be the cells where you type the values, or here, and so on and so forth. So now we proceed to how we can interconnect this one. I would like to show you two ways, but of course there are many ways to make interconnections of the different worksheets. The first one is perhaps the easiest. Let me go to sheet 1. Let me rename sheet 1 and just have MN. Okay, so you can now design your main worksheet. Say for example, I would like this one to be merged, and increase my font size, and then this one you can have your own design here. Bring out the best in you when it comes to designing. So say for example this one, and then I'll just merge this one and F. I'll color this one to be green, for example. And in this area, you can have some shapes or even pictures for that matter. So how do you have this one? You can just have the auto shapes. You can choose any of the auto shapes. By the way, I use this one. Okay, so and then right click, add text or edit text. So that's how you can do this. But by the way, so that you will have the same sizes of your shapes, have the first one, copy, paste, and then align it in the first one, rename. Say for example, employee data. So this is using shapes. You can also make use of simply a text in a cell, like for example this one. Then here you can have employee data. And then next would be, for example, DTR summary, and so on and so forth. In this demonstration, I would like to show you using hyperlink to connect to another worksheet. So let's have this one. You're familiar with hyperlink. The shortcut is Control K, or you go to Insert, Hyperlink, this one, or right click, Hyperlink. Now under hyperlink, since you are only linking it to another worksheet in the same workbook, you have to link to place in these documents. Under this area, you have all the lists of worksheets plus all the defined names. So you can also go directly to a certain area using the defined names. Now, since you are linking worksheets, so I will be using this one. So, say for example, I'll go to Setup, I'll click this one, and you can direct the active cell to a certain cell. So, for example, you would like to go to A1, but let me just check. I want to go to this area, D5. So what I will do is, using this document, and then here I will select Setup and change it, the cell reference to D5. You can also have a screen tip if you want to. Click OK. So you notice that this is already working. Okay, so once you click this one, it will be working. So that's how you can make use of simply using a text in a cell. How to do this with shapes? Okay, right click, hyperlink, do the same. That will be going to employee data, so we will be choosing this one. Okay, so once I'll click this one, it will go directly to the employee data. What will I do if I want to go back directly to this one? Okay, so say for example, I'm here, I'll insert a picture. I'll use this one, home. I can make some cropping. Home, then Control K or right click. Oops. Right click, hyperlink. There's no hyperlink. Insert. Oh, hyperlink is not available with this picture. Anyway, you can use shapes if you want to. So right click, say for example, back or home or main, whatever your label is. So right click, by the way, I know now the reason, because this worksheet has been protected. I'll unprotect it first. I believe the picture can now be used for that. Insert picture. Let's use home. I'll use the colored one. Say for example, we have this, right click, hyperlink. And then place in these documents, I would like to go back to MN. Okay, so once I will click on this, automatically it will go back to the main worksheet. Set up, back. So it's important to put a screen tip so that this one will not appear. A very long source or destination will not appear. So what I will do is edit my hyperlink, put a screen tip, say for example back to main. Okay, so you notice you will have only back to main. So with this, you can now go back to main. Now I would like to shift, I'm sorry for that, hold down your control key if you want to edit this one, because when you simply click this one, it will go back to the destination. So we have this one, and then do not forget to protect it again. Click set up. Notice that I can only click on the buttons and on this area. So that's how you can have the hyperlink to go from one link or one worksheet to another. So anyway, if you are here and you would like to go to employee data and so on and so forth, you just need to complete all the links here in this worksheet and do the same with the other worksheet. Actually, if you have all the pictures or shapes in one sheet, you can just copy and paste it in other worksheets so that it will function just the same. Okay, the second part of this one is how to design using the developer tab. Once again, you go to File, Options, and under the Customize ribbon, check the Developer tab so that the Developer tab will appear here. In this presentation, in this part of the presentation, we will be using these buttons. There are many buttons actually here, but let me just use this one. Okay, so you have the command button 1, button 2, and so on and so forth. These are actually where set up employee data and so on and so forth were made. Okay, so here you can set the properties. Just to show you the properties, you can change the name. It's important to change the name. So since this is a command button, you can just name it BTN, abbreviation for button, or CMD for that matter, command. And then say for example set up. Accelerator, say for example first let's change this one, set up, and you would like to use U as your accelerator. Observe carefully what happens to this area. U was underlined. What does this mean? It means that you can press Alt and U so that this button will function instead of clicking. It's an alternate to clicking button. So that's how you can have this one, properties. Now let me show you so that we'll have to finish this one earlier. I'll click on this, and I will right click on view code, or you can have this view code here. View code. This is the view code. Now, these are all the sheets available in your workbook. Let me just show you the entire code for this workbook. So what I did here is to set up and some parts of the workbook to be hidden once you open the file. So application display, that display formula bar equals false means you are hiding the formula bar. Application display scroll bars equals false means the scroll bar that you see on the right area of the workbook will be hidden. This one will allow you to hide the entire ribbon, and this one will allow you to hide XL. This one is visible, so only the main will be visible. And then set up Excel sheet hidden. Okay. I used EM data there, so and so on and so forth. And then this workbook, that worksheet's main will be activated. Where is this? Take note, it should be private workbook open. So check on this, and then the action should be during open, before you type all of these values. Okay, and sub. Under the setup, this is what you can type. This workbook, that worksheet's main visible equals Excel sheet visible. What is this? This is actually the button. Let me show you. This is actually the button that you see here, back to main, this one. The function of that is, once you click, the main worksheet will be visible, and the setup worksheet will be hidden. Since you are making the main worksheet to be visible, you have to activate it. This is also the same with the employee data. Okay? This one is the button that you see under the employee data, back to main button for employee data. Now, with this, how do we have all of this to have their code? That is under main. Let's check main. So here, once you click the button setup, meaning this one, this button, the function will be, it will make the setup visible, it will make the main hidden. Since you're making the setup visible, then it will be activated. This is almost the same with the other buttons that you see here. Employee data, DTR summary, loans availed, payslip, payroll. They will have the same code, except that you need to change the names. Say for example, when you click the button for the DTR summary, this is what you should have. DTR summary, take note, what is this DTR summary? What is this employee data? Actually, this is EMP data. I renamed it, so take note of that. What are these? What is this loans for, payroll? These are actually the names of your worksheets. So going back to the view code, BTN employee data. What is this BTN employee data? What is this BTN loans, BTN payroll? These are the names of these. Again, take note, just to show you that we have the BTN data. Now, if you want to have accelerators here, say for example, I'll put D here. Notice that D will be underlined. Under setup, I'll use S. Under DTR summary, I'll use D. Under loans availed, I'll use L. Under payslip, I will use P. Avoid using the same accelerator. Say for example, I already use S here. I will not use S in the payslip. That's why if you notice, cut and copy, copy is Control C, cut is Control X, because you cannot use the same letter for the shortcut key. In the same way, you cannot use the same accelerator when you would like to have it in your application or in your system. I'll have this one to have Y, for example, as the accelerator. So take note, all of this has a name, and I use BTN setup, BTN employee data, and so on and so forth. That's what you see in the code. Okay, now for the exit, it will have a different code. Let me show you the code. Take note, when you don't change the name, check what happens. Command button 1. What's the command button 1? It's actually the exit. Let me just change this one. Exit. Closed. Not a legal name. So, why not a legal name? Because exit is a reserved word. Say for example, let's name it quit. Okay, so here I need to change this one, or I'll just copy this one or cut this one and simply paste it here. So notice, when you don't change the names of your buttons, it will be named command button 1, 2, and so on and so forth. So it's very important to name your buttons also. So here, let me explain how the quit or exit works. Dim ans as integer, so you define a variable to get the value of the message box. Okay, so it will be an integer value. Actually, that holds either 0 or 1 value. So ans equals message box, agawid kan, VP yes, no, VP question, exit. So actually, you can change this one as want to exit. Are you sure you want to exit? Okay, so are you sure you want to exit? VP yes, no. This will be the buttons that you see or choices that you see in the message box. And then with a question mark is one. And then with a label of exit. So here, if ans equals VBS, this is what happens. Meaning, if you click yes, the workbook will be saved. Whatever changes that you made will be saved. Application formula bar will be true. Application scroll bars will be true. The ribbon will become true. Application that quit will be will function. You can have other values here. Okay, so anyway, so once you are done with all of the setup, then we are ready. So close. You need to save the codes if MS Excel asked you to save it. So this is the main. You design your own, just like what I did here. I designed. Again, I hide some of the columns and some of the rows. So actually this I developed this one in the year 2019. So that's how this main works. So once you save this one, so that the codes will work together with the buttons, you have to save this one as Excel macro enabled workbook. It's not Excel workbook, but it will be Excel macro enabled workbook. Save. Yes. So what happens? Anyway, let me just remove this one. Delete this one. So what happens if we have this? Save as enabled. Take note. I'll close this one. When I will open this one, you notice that it has a different icon symbol. But there's a problem. Out of range debug, DTR summary, Excel hidden. Sometimes we need to check on the. So you notice now that the ribbon was hidden, and then you can also hide actually this area. I forgot to hide the scroll bar. So once you click setup, it will not work. Okay, now there's a problem with there's an error. So let's just check the error. How to go back to that area.